Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we cut through the noise to deliver the insights you truly need. Today we're diving into a truth we all kind of know deep down, right? Every business, doesn't matter the industry, is now a software business.
Absolutely.
And the speed you need just to innovate, adapt, and honestly just keep up, it's relentless.
It really is. That pressure to digitally transform is everywhere.
Exactly. But what actually works, what moves the needle? It's not just about, throwing more tech at the problem and hoping for the best.
Right. And that's where this research comes in.
We're taking a deep dive into the groundbreaking work behind the book Accelerate. And this isn't just another business book with opinions and anecdotes. This is seriously researched stuff.
It is. It's data-driven. It compiles 4 years of the State of DevOps reports. That's 2014 through 2017. So it gives us this really robust, evidence-based look at high-performing tech orgs.
Okay, so our goal today is basically to unpack the most important findings from all that research.
Yeah, exactly. We want to show you what good really looks like in software delivery.
And how that good impacts the whole organization, the people.
And crucially, the specific things, the capabilities you can actually focus on to drive real improvement.
Prepare for some aha moments, folks, because this might challenge some common assumptions about tech success.
Definitely.
So let's kick off with the big picture, because this research, it doesn't pull any punches about the value of IT.
No, it doesn't. For years, people have struggled to prove IT isn't just a cost center, right?
Right, trying to link it to business value.
And many studies try, but Accelerate moves beyond just correlation. It asserts, with real confidence, a causal link. High IT performance causes strong business outcomes.
Okay, causal, that's a strong claim.
It is, but the data backs it up. What's so compelling is the direct, measurable impact. High-performing tech organizations, they are twice as likely to exceed their organizational goals, all of them.
Twice as likely, across the board. So profitability.
Profitability, market share, productivity gains.
Yeah.
We're talking tangible, bottom-line results here.
Wow, so it's not just theory, it's a real competitive advantage.
Precisely. And it's not just about the money, either.
Oh, okay.
High performers also crush it on non-commercial goals. Think quantity of goods and services, operating efficiency, customer satisfaction.
Mission objectives, maybe for nonprofits or government?
Exactly. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Better software delivery capability gives you a critical edge. It shows up everywhere.
Okay, that business impact is super clear. But if we're talking performance, we absolutely have to talk about measuring it.
Foundational. You have to measure the right things.
Because, let's be honest,
Yeah.
a lot of us have probably relied on some, pretty flawed metrics in the past.
Oh, absolutely. Like lines of code. That often just rewards bloat, right? You write more code, looks like you did more.
Yeah, incentivizes the wrong thing. Or velocity.
Velocity and agile. Useful maybe inside a team, but it's relative, it's easily gamed. You can't really compare teams reliably with it.
And utilization.
Yeah.
Keeping everyone 100% busy.
Yeah, that's a killer. High utilization actually destroys your lead time because there's no slack, no buffer for the unexpected, which always happens.
So those are out. What should we be measuring then?
Well, the research gives us 4 key metrics.
Right.
They're validated, reliable, and they cover both speed and stability.
Okay, what are they?
First, deployment frequency. How often do you actually push code to production?
Okay, makes sense.
Second, lead time for changes. How long does it take from a developer committing code to that code running successfully in production?
The whole cycle time. Got it.
Third, mean time to restore service, or MTTR. When things go wrong, and they will, how quickly can you fix it?
Crucial for stability. And the last one.
Change fail rate. What percentage of your changes to production actually cause a problem, like degraded service or needing a fix?
Right, so those 4 give you a really balanced view.
Exactly. Speed and stability together.
Now, here's the bit that I found really fascinating. If you've ever felt that tension, ship fast versus don't break things.
Oh, yeah, the classic dilemma.
For years, the conventional wisdom was you pick one. Speed or stability. Go fast, expect bugs. Go slow, be stable.
Right. You trade one for the other.
But this research completely flips that on its head, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It fundamentally refutes that trade-off. The findings consistently show there is no trade-off between improving performance speed, tempo, and achieving higher stability and quality.
No trade-off. So the fast movers are also the stable ones.
Yes. High performers are better at all 4 metrics simultaneously.
Wow, do they have numbers on that? Like how much better?
Oh, yeah. The 2017 data, for example. High performers deployed code 46 times more frequently than low performers.
46 times, okay.
Their lead time from commit to deploy, 440 times faster.
440, that's astronomical.
It is. Mean time to recover from downtime, 170 times faster.
And they're going faster, so they must break things more often, right?
Nope. Their change failure rate was 5 times lower.
5 times lower failure rate, while deploying 46 times more often and getting changes out 440 times faster.
Exactly. Mind-blowing, isn't it?
That is staggering. And you mentioned this gap isn't static.
Right. That DevOps idea of continuous improvement, it's real. The high performers are constantly getting better, pulling away from the medium and low performers year after year.
So the rich get richer, essentially. That competitive advantage just compounds.
It really does. They're playing a different game.
Okay, so beyond the technical measures, the numbers, this research also talks a lot about culture.
A huge factor.
We hear culture thrown around all the time. It's such a buzzword.
Yeah.
But this work actually digs deep, using a specific model.
Yeah, Ron Westrum's model of organizational culture, it originally came from studying safety in healthcare and aviation, but it applies perfectly here.
Interesting. So what are the types of culture Westrum identified?
He described 3 main types. First, there's pathological, think power-oriented. It's characterized by fear, threats, people hoarding information or distorting it, lots of blaming. Basically, messengers get shot.
That's pretty toxic.
It is. Then you have bureaucratic, rule-oriented. Departments protect their turf. Everyone insists on following their own rules. Very by the book, even if the book doesn't make sense anymore.
Okay, I can picture that too. Lots of process, maybe not much progress.
Exactly. And finally, the goal is generative culture, performance-oriented. Here, the focus is on the mission. You have high cooperation, risks are shared openly, messengers are trained. You want to hear the bad news early.
So failure is treated as a learning opportunity.
Precisely. Inquiry comes from failure, and novelty, new ideas are embraced.
And the key point here is that this isn't just, soft stuff. It's not just about feeling good.
Absolutely not. The research shows a generative culture directly predicts better information flow, and that better flow leads to better software delivery performance.
Which we already linked to business outcomes.
Right. And stronger overall organizational performance and significantly higher job satisfaction for the people involved. It's a core driver.
Okay, so if generative culture is the goal, how do you actually build it? That's the million-dollar question for leaders, isn't it?
It is, and the research offers a really powerful, actionable insight here. You don't have to start by trying to change how people think or feel.
Oh, how then?
You can actively change the culture by implementing specific practices, technical practices, management practices. You essentially act your way to a better culture.
Act your way. I like that. It feels much more concrete than just talking about mindset shifts.
It's incredibly empowering for leaders. You can start changing behaviors and processes, and the cultural shift follows.
That's a huge takeaway. Okay, so we got the IT business link, the right metrics, the impact of culture. Now let's get into the real how-to, the blueprint.
The 24 capabilities.
Exactly. And you stressed earlier, this isn't about hitting some static maturity level, right?
Correct. High performers never think they're done. It's about continuously developing capabilities. It's a journey, not a destination.
So let's break down some of these capabilities. They're grouped, right?
Yeah, several categories. Let's start with continuous delivery technical capabilities. This is the nuts and bolts.
Okay, like what?
Things like comprehensive version control. And that means everything needed for production, not just source code, but configs, scripts, database schemas, everything. It all needs to be tracked.
Makes sense. What else?
Deployment automation and continuous integration, CI. Automate the repetitive, error-prone stuff so people can focus on actual problem solving.
Freeing up brain power.
Exactly. And a key part of CI/CD effectiveness is trunk-based development.
Ah, I've heard of this. Short-lived branches.
Very short-lived. Like developers merge their code into the main code base, the trunk, at least once a day, keeps everyone synced, avoids those massive, painful merge conflicts later, much faster feedback loops.
Right, avoids merge hell. What about testing?
Test automation and management is crucial. Developers should be primarily responsible for writing and maintaining the tests for their code. And you need good test data management, realistic test data available on demand.
And security. Often feels like an afterthought.
That's why shift left on security is so important. Integrate security checks and practices into the development process right from the start. Don't wait until the end.
Does that actually speed things up? Seems like more work up front.
It does improve delivery performance overall, and it cuts the time spent fixing security issues later by about 50%. Catching them early is way cheaper and faster.
Okay, that makes sense. So those are some key technical capabilities. What about architecture?
Big impact there too. Architecture capabilities. A major one is having a loosely coupled architecture.
Meaning teams can work independently.
Largely, yes. Teams can make significant changes to their part of the system without needing sign-off from lots of other teams or causing cascading failures. It decouples them, enabling faster, safer changes. Directly improves delivery performance according to the data.
And that ties into teams themselves.
It does. Empowered teams are key. Teams that have the authority to choose their own tools, the ones best suited for their specific job and users. They're more effective.
Interesting. So not standardizing tools across the whole organization.
Not necessarily, no. It supports this idea of the inverse Conway maneuver, instead of your org chart dictating your architecture.
Which often leads to clunky systems.
Right. You design your architecture to enable the kind of team autonomy and communication you want. Let the desired architecture shape the team interactions, not the other way around.
Clever. Okay, what's next? Product and process.
Yep. Product and process capabilities, often aligning with lean product management ideas. Think customer feedback and team experimentation.
So talking to users.
Actively and regularly seeking that feedback, yes. And crucially, empowering the teams to actually change things based on what they learn, giving them authority to tweak specs.
Not just collecting feedback for a report nobody reads.
Exactly. Also, working in small batches, breaking work down into really small chunks, less than a week's worth ideally, using MVPs, minimum viable products.
Reduces risk, faster learning cycles.
Precisely. And having value stream visibility, really understanding the flow of work all the way from a business idea to delivering value to the customer, seeing where the bottlenecks are.
Okay, and the last group, lean management and monitoring.
Right, lean management and monitoring capabilities. And here's where we hit one of the most counterintuitive findings for many organizations.
Oh, hear it.
Lightweight change approval. Specifically, the role of change approval boards, or CABs.
Ah, the CAB. A familiar ritual in many places, seen as essential for stability, right? Gatekeepers.
That's the common belief. Necessary friction to prevent disaster. But the data, it tells a completely different story.
Don't keep us in suspense.
CABs are negatively correlated with both speed and stability.
Negatively. So they make things worse.
Yes, they slow things down, which maybe isn't surprising, but they don't improve stability. In fact, organizations relying heavily on external CABs tend to have worse stability.
Wow. So all those meetings, all that paperwork,
Yeah.
it's not actually helping.
According to the research, no. What does work better? Peer review, things like pair programming or code reviews done within the team, that's positively correlated with better performance.
That is a huge finding. What else in this category?
Proactive monitoring and visualizing work. Using data from your monitoring systems, not just when things break, but for daily decisions. Getting proactive alerts before customers report problems.
Using data effectively.
Yeah. And things like limiting work in progress, WIP. Using visual dashboards to make bottlenecks obvious, sharing quality and productivity metrics openly. It's about transparency and data-driven improvement.
Okay, that's a comprehensive set of capabilities. It's clear how they impact the tech side, the process side, but what about the people doing the work?
Huge impact there, too. The research looks closely at the human element. Let's talk deployment pain.
Deployment pain, like those horrible weekend releases.
Exactly. Deployments that are feared, disruptive, require heroics or after-hours work. The research shows this pain is a really strong indicator of poor IT performance overall, poor organizational performance, and often a pathological culture.
It's like a symptom of deeper problems.
It really is a telltale sign. But the good news, the really positive finding here, is that implementing those technical practices we discussed, automation, small batches, CI/CD, it directly reduces deployment pain.
So better practices mean less stress.
Significantly less stress and anxiety. When deployments become frequent, small, automated, they just become routine, a non-event, not some dreaded all-hands-on-deck fire drill. That hugely improves quality of life for engineers.
I can imagine. Anyone who's lived through those painful deployments knows the difference. What about burnout? That's a big topic, too.
Definitely. The research tackles burnout, and it defines it properly, not just stress, but that deep physical, mental, emotional exhaustion.
What do they find causes it?
It's highly correlated with those pathological cultures we talked about, fear, blame, and also with doing wasteful work that doesn't add value or gets thrown away.
Makes sense. Feeling like you're spinning your wheels.
Exactly. But again, there's good news. Those same technical and lean practices that improve performance, they also demonstrably reduce feelings of burnout.
How can managers help with that?
Managers play a massive role, fostering supportive environments, genuinely learning from failure instead of blaming individuals, and critically, giving people time and resources for improvement and experimentation. Things like Google's 20% time or IBM's Think Fridays, dedicated time for innovation or tackling tech debt.
Empowering people, making work feel meaningful.
That's key, and it pays off in loyalty.
Ah, loyalty. How do they measure that?
Using the Employee Net Promoter Score, ENPS, high performers have 2.2 times higher ENPS scores.
2.2 times. That's significant.
It is. When people see their work having a positive impact, when they feel connected to the company's purpose, they identify more strongly with the organization. It creates this amazing virtuous cycle. Good work leads to feeling good, which leads to even better work.
Better software, better business, happier people. It all links together.
It really does. And this also connects to diversity.
How so?
Well, other research often links having women in leadership roles to better financial performance and higher collective intelligence in teams. Yet the reality in tech is that women leave the industry at a much higher rate than men, about 45% higher.
Wow. That's a huge loss of talent.
It is. So creating genuinely inclusive environments where everyone feels they belong and can thrive isn't just the right thing to do ethically. It's demonstrably good for team performance, good for innovation, and good for the business, bottom line.
Absolutely crucial. Okay, we've covered the metrics, culture, capabilities, and the practices, but who actually leads this kind of change?
Leadership is critical. The research doesn't just say leadership matters, it identifies a specific style. Transformational leadership.
Transformational. What does that look like in practice?
These are leaders who inspire and motivate. They have a clear vision, they communicate inspirationally, they stimulate people, intellectually challenge them to think differently, they're supportive, and they offer personal recognition for effort and achievement.
So it's not just about giving orders.
Not at all.
Yeah.
These specific transformational traits, they are highly correlated with better software delivery performance and those higher ENPS scores we just talked about.
So better leadership directly drives better results and happier teams.
Directly. And managers can cultivate this by leading by example, investing in their people training budgets, time for hack days, or even yak shaving days to tackle annoying technical debt.
Yak shaving days. I like that. Addressing the small annoyances.
Exactly. Enabling cross-functional collaboration, actively building trust between teams, maybe using practices like Google's Game Days, simulated disaster recovery exercises, which build muscle memory and relationships under pressure.
Building trust through shared experience.
Yes, and crucially, creating that climate of learning. Making it genuinely safe to fail. Treating failures not as something to be hidden or blamed, but as valuable opportunities for inquiry and improvement.
Psychological safety.
That's fundamental. Also, making effective use of tools often, as we said, by empowering teams to choose what works best for them.
Is there a real-world example of this kind of transformation?
Yeah, the book highlights ING Netherlands. They went on a major journey, shifting their focus from pure cost optimization to optimizing for speed and agility.
How do they do it?
They adopted outcome-based teams, mapped their value streams to understand flow, used things like Obeyer rooms, these large visual management spaces where teams and leaders could gather around metrics and progress, making everything transparent.
Visual management, okay.
They use something called catch-ball communication, like tossing a ball back and forth, up and down the hierarchy, ensuring everyone understands and buys into ideas and solutions. And leaders really shifted to acting as coaches, prioritizing quality and psychological safety.
So they really demonstrated that principle of acting your way to a better culture.
Perfectly. It wasn't just a memo mandating change. It was about changing daily behaviors, routines, management systems. And that transformed the culture and delivered the high performance they were aiming for.
That's a powerful illustration. Now, some listeners might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, compelling even, but how solid is this research? Is it just based on a few cool companies?
That's a fair question. And it's important to stress the rigor here. This isn't based on anecdotes or just a handful of case studies.
So what's the methodology?
It's based on rigorous, primary quantitative research, large-scale surveys conducted over multiple years with data from over 23,000 respondents globally. They used methods you'd typically find in serious academic research.
Okay, 23,000 respondents is a lot. How did they measure complex things like culture?
They use something called latent constructs. It's a sophisticated statistical approach where you measure complex and tangible ideas like culture or burnout or performance using multiple, carefully validated questions that bundle together reliably.
So not just asking, is your culture good?
Definitely not. And then they used advanced statistical techniques like inferential predictive analysis. This allowed them to move beyond just finding correlations, things happening at the same time, to actually identifying causal links, pinpointing what practices drive which outcomes.
So they weren't just finding patterns, they were testing specific hypotheses about cause and effect.
Exactly. It was theory-driven. That gives us really high confidence in the findings. It's not just data dredging.
And you mentioned this focus on capabilities, not maturity models.
Right. The whole approach rejects those rigid, often bureaucratic maturity models where you try to climb some predefined ladder. Instead, it focuses on dynamic capability models.
That's the difference.
A capability model helps organizations understand which specific skills and practices drive the outcomes they care about, allowing them to build those capabilities in a way that makes sense for their context. It recognizes that improvement is continuous and customized, not a one-size-fits-all checklist.
Yeah.
The highest performers are always evolving.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's about continuous improvement tailored to you. So let's try and wrap this up. What's the big picture takeaway for everyone listening?
I think it's that achieving high performance in technology today isn't just about adopting the latest tools or frameworks.
It's more holistic than that.
Much more. It's about the symbiotic relationship between effective technical practices like continuous delivery and loosely coupled architecture.
A generative, high-trust culture.
Genuinely empowered teams who can own their work.
And that transformational leadership style that inspires and enables everyone.
Exactly. They all work together. And the data from Accelerate gives us a clear, evidence-based roadmap for building all of those pieces. It shows us how to not just survive, but actually thrive.
It really paints a picture of a more effective and honestly more humane way of working in tech.
It does. And the research really underscores that the best performers are never satisfied. They're always looking for the next improvement, the next capability to build.
So, maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on. If business as usual clearly isn't cutting it anymore, and what was high performance yesterday is just the baseline today.
Yeah. The provocative question is, what new capabilities will you focus on exploring and transforming within your own organization? How will you stay ahead or even just keep pace in this constantly accelerating world?